This morning, before your feet even touched the floor, you sensed the chill in the air. A glance at the thermostat made you sigh. You nudged it up by 2 degrees, already imagining the hit on your utility bill at the end of the month. Now, picture a home in Lancaster County where no thermostat was touched this morning. Not because anyone is uncomfortable, but because they simply don't need one. The Amish have been warming their houses since 1736, never sending a single cent to a utility company. The setup costs about $300 for an existing home. Same 72 degrees inside, $0 on the meter. The reason you've never heard of this isn't due to complexity. For over a century, the American Gas Association ensured it remained invisible. My first visit to one of these homes outside Millersburg, Ohio, had me wandering for 20 minutes looking for a vent. I found nothing. No vent, no furnace grate, no baseboard, just a wall that radiated warmth. That wall maintained 72 degrees at 4 in the morning. I'll show you exactly what I discovered, including a method documented in a Penn State extension report that you could replicate this weekend in a house built before 1980. No permits, no contractor, no rebuilding. You just need to understand what they've known all along. Before revealing the truth, let's expose the lie. In 2008, a company named Heat Surge ran 2-page newspaper ads across America promoting something called the Amish Miracle Heater. The ad featured a wooden mantle, a fake flickering fire, and a promise that the Amish designed it and that it could heat your home for pennies. They charged $385 for it, plus $50 for shipping, plus $28 for an extended warranty. I know this because I nearly fell for it. My wife saw the Sunday paper in 2009 and said it sounded too good to be true, and she was right. Inside the elegant wooden box was a standard 1,500-watt electric coil heater you could buy at Walmart for $27. Made in China, it had nothing to do with the Amish, neither design, manufacture, nor philosophy. The Amish men I spoke with in Holmes County either laughed or rolled their eyes. One elder in a black hat told me slowly that the only Amish aspect was the word printed on the box. Yet, the scam succeeded because people sensed a kernel of truth beneath the falsehood. They instinctively knew the Amish possessed heating knowledge the rest of us had forgotten, and they were willing to pay hundreds for even a fake version of it. Imagine what they would have paid for the real thing. The real method costs nearly nothing because it relies on materials you already have. It requires thinking about warmth as the Amish do, completely opposite to conventional training. Most Americans think of heat as something to create, turn on, or generate with fuel or electricity. That mindset is why your bills soar. You're producing warmth from scratch around the clock every winter. The Amish do not generate heat. They capture it, store it, and release it slowly. That single shift in thinking unlocks everything. Let's go back to a date almost forgotten. On November 19th, 1979, President Jimmy Carter dedicated rooftop solar water heaters he had installed on the White House. He said they would either be a curiosity or a small part of one of the most exciting adventures ever undertaken by Americans in a generation. 7 years later, in 1986, the panels were quietly removed and stored in a government warehouse in Virginia. Here's the overlooked truth. While those panels came down, the Amish were already practicing a more advanced version of the same principle in their Pennsylvania farmhouses. They had been doing it since the Anabaptist settlers built homes in Berks County in 1730. They never called it passive solar heating. They called it building correctly. The concept is simple, almost deceptively so. In winter, the sun rises in the east, arcs across the southern sky, and sets in the west. In the northern hemisphere, south-facing walls receive 4 to 6 times more solar radiation than north-facing walls. By orienting living spaces southward and providing surfaces to absorb that radiation during the day, heat is stored and slowly released at night, warming the home for free. Penn State University's College of Agricultural Sciences confirmed that south-facing spaces combined with thermal mass can reduce a typical American home's heating needs by 30 to 40% before any other changes. That's substantial, almost half your heating bill gone simply by harnessing sunlight and the surfaces it hits. Thermal mass refers to dense materials that soak up heat gradually and release it slowly. Stone, brick, concrete, adobe, water, all qualify. The Amish farmhouses I toured in Lancaster County shared 2 common traits: expansive south-facing windows in main living areas and heavy materials inside those rooms. Stone fireplaces, brick chimneys running through the house center, thick plaster walls, and sometimes even a water tank in the basement directly beneath the southern room. Sunlight would stream in from around 10 in the morning to 2 in the afternoon, hitting dark stone and thick plaster, then radiating warmth back into the room over the next 12 to 16 hours. By the next morning, the stone was just beginning to cool, and the cycle restarted. This is not speculation. It is verified building physics. The University of Arizona's study on adobe walls in the 1990s found that an 18-inch adobe wall delays heat transfer by 8 to 12 hours. That means warmth absorbed during the day is released precisely when it's needed at night. No machines, no electricity, no fuel, just physics fulfilling its natural role. But the story takes a darker turn. If this system is so effective, Why doesn't every home in America use it? Think about it for a moment. Passive solar heating can slash your bill by 40%. The principle has been understood for nearly 300 years. The materials cost next to nothing. So why aren't all homes built this way? Why is it absent from building guides? Why didn't the contractor of your neighborhood align the houses to face south? The answer is simple. No one profits when your home generates its own warmth. In 1925, a coalition of regional gas utility companies formed the American Gas Association. They understood that a central organization could promote gas appliances and shape construction standards. By 1936, the association was funding research grants, lobbying state legislatures, and advising the committees writing residential building codes. During the post-war housing surge of the 1950s, 17 million homes were built in less than 15 years. Builders prioritized street-facing aesthetics over solar orientation. The front of the house would face the road, whether that side faced north, east, south, or west. Millions of homes ended up facing the wrong direction, not by accident, but by design. If your house faces north, you need a furnace. If you need a furnace, you need fuel. And if fuel is required, someone profits month after month, year after year. The Amish anticipated this long before it became widespread. They observed American society moving toward the electrical grid throughout the 1920s and 30s. In 1919, Amish bishops convened at the ordning discussions and decided collectively that tying homes to the public utility network would create dependence, ultimately threatening their communities. They weren't resisting progress. They were strategizing. They recognized that once you connect to a system controlled by others, they control your home. They had watched their English neighbors gradually lose independence, one wire at a time. While the rest of America was being wired into a system that would charge them indefinitely, the Amish refined methods that required no bills. Consider the wood-burning stove in a basement channeling warm air through floor grates to rooms above. The masonry heater stores the energy from a single morning fire for 24 hours. South-facing summer kitchens capture heat in winter. Cast iron cook stoves simultaneously bake bread, heat water, and warm the kitchen. But there's an innovation that shifts everything. In some forward-thinking Amish communities in northern Indiana and central Ohio, they've adopted a hot water radiant floor system. Pipes carrying heated water run beneath wooden floors in main living areas, fed by an outdoor wood-fired boiler. The floor itself radiates warmth. No furnace, no vents stirring dust, no cold spots near windows. Just a cozy floor that welcomes bare feet even at 4 in the morning. Building such a system in a new Amish home costs about $2,000 in materials and nothing in labor, as the community constructs it together over a weekend. Installing a comparable setup through a contractor in your home would cost between $15,000 and $25,000. Identical physics, identical materials, but a vastly different price tag. The difference is the markup. Now, if your home already exists and you're thinking this applies only to new construction, stay with me. I understand your concern. You might think, this works great for new builds or Amish farmhouses, but my house was built in 1968, faces east, and can't exactly be turned on its foundation. I felt the same way 8 years ago. My own home in central Pennsylvania was constructed in 1972. The previous owner selected the lot for the road view, so my front door faced nearly due north. Here's the strategy that transformed my heating and can be implemented this weekend for less than $300. Walk through your home and locate every south-facing window. Even if your front entrance faces north, you likely have at least 2 or 3 south-facing windows, maybe a bedroom, a back door, or a laundry room. Their location doesn't matter. What matters is that sunlight pours through them between 10 in the morning and 2 in the afternoon. Most homeowners make the same mistake. They block these windows. Heavy drapes, blinds, or furniture obstruct the sun, treating the south side as if it were north, cutting off the only free heat source. Instead, do 3 things. First, keep south-facing windows fully exposed from sunrise to sunset daily, from October through March. Pull curtains wide open. Move furniture aside. Let the sunlight flood the room. Second, place thermal masts directly in the sun's path. This is the part under $300. Visit a landscaping supply yard and get dark-colored stone or brick to cover the area where sunlight lands. Slate tiles work well. Dark ceramic tiles work too. Even a row of 5-gallon containers painted black and filled with water along the inside wall will store a substantial amount of heat. Water is particularly effective because it has the highest thermal storage capacity of common materials, about 4 times that of concrete by volume. Third, when the sun sets, close insulated curtains over the windows, heavy thermal panels, costing roughly $30 each, trap the heat that the mass now radiates back into the room overnight. The stored warmth slowly dissipates until around 4 in the morning, by which time the outdoor temperature begins to rise again. I applied this in my living room in 2017. Slate tiles lined the south wall where the afternoon sun streams through 3 windows. 2 15-gallon water containers, painted black, sat behind furniture, completely hidden. Thermal curtains hung in place, The total cost was $283. That winter, my heating bill fell by 31%. Adding the same setup to a bedroom the following winter cut another 9%, reaching a total 40% reduction, exactly as Penn State research predicted. You don't need a new house. You only need to leverage the south-facing side of your existing home. There is one final aspect, known to only the most traditional Amish communities. This detail is crucial to remember. Everything I've shared so far is well documented. Passive solar heating is covered in Penn State Extension publications. Thermal mass principles are verified by University of Arizona studies. Masonry heater designs have been documented in books dating back to the 1980s. None of it is truly secret. Before I reveal the final piece, there's one last thing to clarify. Everything I've uncovered, from old extension publications, Amish farmhouse kitchens, the south-facing window strategy, the thermal mass setup with slate or water containers, to the technique I'm about to describe, the $4 cotton muslin hack from the attic video, the type L copper used for water systems, and all the other insights gathered over years in Lancaster and Holmes counties, has been collected into a single system, organized room by room, season by season, just as the families actually use it. It's called the Amish home system. But hold on, because what Jonas revealed in his kitchen in February of 2018 is the method that converts a single log of firewood into enough heat to last an entire day. This particular Amish approach has never appeared in any conventional guide. I had to discover it by sitting at a kitchen table in Holmes County in February of 2018, sipping coffee with Jonas, an 81-year-old Amish man. He had been heating his farmhouse exactly as his grandfather did, who in turn learned it from Heinrich Müller, a German immigrant who arrived in Lancaster County in 1736. Jonas called it the Stube wall. Stube is the Pennsylvania Dutch term for the heated front room in a traditional German farmhouse. The Stube wall is a way of constructing or modifying an interior wall so it acts as a massive heat battery, not charged by sunlight, but by a single small fire ignited once each day. Here's the process. Select an interior wall, ideally running through the center of the home, separating the living area from another room. Apply a thin layer of dense material to that wall. Traditionally, the Amish use hand-mixed clay plaster about 1 inch thick, spread directly over the existing wall. The clay is blended with sand, straw, and natural fiber binders. Today, you can substitute modern lime plaster or stone veneer from any hardware store, which is what I recommend. The total added weight should be roughly 30 to 40 pounds per square foot of wall surface. Here's the step that almost no one knows. Place a small wood stove, or even a heavy cast iron pot filled with hot coals, against the base of the wall for about 90 minutes each morning, once daily. The wall absorbs the heat. The dense plaster stores it. Since the wall is interior, both sides radiate heat into your living spaces. Every calorie of that energy is released back into the home over the next 22 hours. Properly constructed, the Stube wall maintains 72 degrees on both sides for a full day using just 3 pounds of firewood, one single log. Jonas's 2-story farmhouse, 1,400 square feet, required only about 2 cords of firewood for an entire winter. By comparison, a typical American home with a conventional furnace consumes the equivalent of 15 to 20 cords per winter. The Stube wall is approximately 8 times more efficient than modern heating methods. I asked Jonas why this knowledge isn't widespread. He stared at me for a long moment and spoke deliberately. Because those who could have written it down stopped writing long ago. The Amish preserve this wisdom through practice. There's no manual, no extension guide, no university study. There is only the wall, the fire, and the passing of knowledge from grandfather to grandson. The German immigrant who introduced this technique to Pennsylvania in 1736 came from the Black Forest, where families had been constructing Stube walls in their farmhouses since at least the 1500s. This method has endured for over 500 years. It survived the Reformation, 2 world wars, and the Industrial Revolution. Its survival is thanks to a few thousand Amish families in eastern Pennsylvania who have built it into their homes across generations while the rest of the world forgot. You can create a Stube wall in your home over a single weekend. Using modern stone veneer and thin-set mortar from any hardware store, the total materials cost less than $200. No permit is required since it's an interior modification. No contractor is necessary because the technique is straightforward. The only requirement is knowing it exists. And now you do. What has been taken from you isn't just heat. It's the knowledge that you can provide it for yourself. 300 years of wisdom about living comfortably without mailing a monthly check to a utility company has been hidden, not destroyed. Decades of advertising for furnaces, heat pumps, and miracle heaters, often little more than $27 electric coil units in a wooden box, buried this understanding. The Amish preserved it in their kitchens, their walls, and in the way their ancestors constructed homes. Tonight, that knowledge is yours again. For those who sense that real expertise has been quietly suppressed to protect profit, you already know your next move. Those who profited from your dependence are not the ones who will show you how to reclaim it. Take action. Walk through your house, locate your south-facing windows, and leave them uncovered. Let the sunlight fill your home. Open the curtains. The sun will rise tomorrow morning, whether you harness it or not.